Welcome to Gingerspyce Tiefling Druid, Episode 9. In this episode, I'm going to be doing White Plume Mountain, and I am level 9. Let's take a look at where things are. On the equipment side, not a whole lot has changed, but there are some important scrolls and things that I set aside because I wanted to make sure that I talked about them. So as far as the gear that I'm actually wearing, I do have the next level of Braces of Wind and Cloak of Flames, but like I explained before, these are legacy versions where I've applied masterful craftsmanship from the old Caneth crafting system. You can't do that anymore, but what that used to allow us to do is to lower the minimum level by 2. So these are actually like the old level 11 versions with that reduced minimum level. And as I was saying with other versions, like the new level 11 version actually has higher magnetism, but slightly lower lightning lore. So, since I already have these older versions, I'm just sticking with what I got. But the newer versions are great, so don't stress if you didn't have these older versions. It's not a big deal at all. And with every level, new level version that you get, they always have more goodies on them. So now here with the Braces of Wind, we got not only magnetism and lightning lore and blurry, but we also have a little bit of dodge as well, which is pretty nice. On the Cloak of Flames, similarly with the legacy masterful craftsmanship, now we have, in addition to combustion and fire lore, we also have heightened awareness 2 and fire absorption on there, which is pretty cool. All of the other gear is exactly the same as previous episodes, but I'll just mention on the trinket I have resistance and spell saves. On the necklace, charisma and constitution, some of these values could be higher right now. It's a level 5 necklace, so if you were wanted to have the absolute highest possible numbers at every level, you would want higher than this, but I'm not worried. I know that I have a better necklace waiting for me and better stats waiting for me at level 10. Spell focus 2 and persuasion slotted with protection 2 on the headgear. True Seeing Wisdom 5 slotted with Master's Gift on the goggles. Heavy Fortification slotted in the medium armor, hide armor, invulnerability with Vitality 16. False Life 12, Dexterity 2 diamond in the slot. Also have some fire absorption, which is now redundant from the cloak. That's going to change out next level. A lot of my gear is going to change out at level 10, almost all of it. Actually, I think all of it. Except for maybe like my weapon and shield. So on the boots, we've got Feather Falling, which is redundant. I mentioned before. I don't need that now because I have Feather Falling from my enhancements, but because I use this set of boots on like my other tunes that I'm leveling, I just left it in there. Sheltering and Dexterity on there. And Diamond of Intelligence here, just to put something in there. I think I said before that was just about raising my spellcraft skill by 1, just because it was empty, might as well. Healing Amplification and Wizardry for some extra spell points, and Ice Lore Glaciation on the ring, Dodge and Strength on the belt. And the shield with Intimidate 10, Electricity Absorption, and Protection 3. The protection, so that means the protection on the headgear is redundant, but like I said, things are going to be changing big time next level. Don't worry about a little bit of redundancy as you're leveling, especially in lowly levels. It's not a big deal if you're not optimized at every step of the way. If you try to optimize your gear every step of the way, then you're going to find yourself with a lot of your bank space taken up at the end of the day, which I try to avoid. So that's a big consideration, when I'm, like, okay, maybe, I just want to have a level 5, item and then a level 10 item or whatever. So I don't want to have a bunch of leftover items when I clogging up my bank when I get to 30. As long as I cover my basics and I'm not feeling any deficiencies, then I feel okay about it. The Spectral Dagger is the same as last level as well. So some other pieces of gear that are worth mentioning at level 9. You have the Ring of Spell Storing. This is a rare drop from the Undead Rare General Tanaka or something, I don't know. Out way in the back of the Sands of Manectar, and it's a pretty rare drop, but it's just in a Slayer zone, so even if you're a newer player, you can go farm that pretty easily on your own, and it is a rare drop, but if you farm it for long enough, you will eventually pull it. And this can be an item that is very nice to farm beyond getting 3 charges of 25 spell points. Nice for a caster, but a new player can farm these to try to build up some wealth. These still are in demand, and you can sell these on the auction house or the shard exchange. Depending on your economy, on your server, you might be able to sell these for about 100 shards, plus or minus. And then if you sold it on the auction house, you probably get a couple million plat for this. So like I said, if you're a newer player, that's a pretty good way to build wealth. And if you got a little bit of downtime, nothing going on, that's a very easy farm to do. If you're not familiar with the Sands of Manectran, I do have a video, a much older video, where I did like a tour of all the explorers and rares and quest entrances and stuff. So if you're interested in that, I'll put a link in the video description. Also, Scrolls of Stone to Flesh. I really pretty much just only use this for one quest, and that's Eyes of Stone. But I do like to keep these even beyond that, because once in a blue moon, I actually do use these. But in any event, those are level 9. And then you got Scrolls of True Seeing available at level 9. Druids do have that spell on their spell list, but to save mana and so that you can slot up more important spells, I like to just keep scrolls for when I situationally want to have True Seeing. Scrolls of Greater Heroism are also level 9. I have a pretty good UMD on this tune, so 60% chance is good enough. If I have to throw it a couple of times to get it off, that's fine. But if you don't have good UMD, a really nice piece of gear to get Greater Heroism at level 9 is the Planar Gird that comes out of Zorian Cipher. And that is a 1-charge Greater Heroism clicky that I believe... I can't remember if it lasts 9 or 11 minutes, but something around there. And really nice item. That's another item that's still, to this day in high demand, and is something that could potentially be farmed out, although not really a solo farm like the Ring of Spell Storing. The Zorian Cipher, you probably want to have a trapper and, a few more people in there to help you get that one done. Also, I'm starting to carry Scrolls of Heal. I don't have a very good chance to use these yet, so I'm not using those as my primary, healing method yet. As far as maintenance healing, I'm still using Scrolls of Cure Critical, but once those run out, I will switch over to Scrolls of Heal. Another couple more levels, I'll have a better chance to use. But I do start carrying them now because, just in case. It's a nice backup if the others run out, or situationally, heal does get rid of like so many different conditions. But I wanted to also point out, and this is a little tip from your Uncle Voodoo, that I like to carry both the regular Scrolls of Heal, like you see here, and then I like to carry the ones that I get from the Guild Vendor, which the ones from the Guild Vendor are bound to character. But you can get them from the Guild Vendor for a little cheaper, but I prefer generally to use the regular ones because, like I said before, if my party members run out of like heal scrolls or heal wands, I'd like to be able to pass them a stack or a wand or something, because that just helps the whole party and helps me in the end. But the reason why I like to carry one stack of the bound ones is because, well, if I forget to resupply, and I'm throwing the unbound ones regularly, and if I suddenly run out in the middle of the quest, well, I got a stack of the bound ones, okay, and they don't resupply. Like these are coded differently, so once I run out of the unbound ones, the bound ones won't automatically resupply in my hotbar. So that's kind of like a reminder. It makes me think about it, like, you're out of heal scrolls, you need to get some, but I got this one stack, and that'll get me through that whatever quest I'm doing. And like I said, because it doesn't repopulate automatically, it forces me to make a mental note that I need heal scrolls. Okay, that's enough about gear. Reaper points. So at level 9 you can get your tier 2 innates, and that's all you can spend beyond what I was already be able to spend at level 4, is just the tier 2 innates. And remember, the tier 2 and up for Reaper trees are always on. So this +1 to saving throws and +20 maximum hit points, I'm benefiting from that even when I'm not in Reaper mode. Everything else is only in Reaper mode. All this stuff up here and the tier 1 innates are only in Reaper mode, but tier 2 and up are always on and have some really nice things available. You got stats, look at this, 100 hit points and +1 to all saving throws. That's really huge, you know. Here you got wisdom or charisma, 100 spell points, 150 spell points. You know, here you got dex or strength. You know, that stuff's always on. So there's, you know, even if you're not crazy about Reaper mode, that's a pretty good incentive to, you know, get some Reaper points so that you can, your toon can benefit from that stuff even when you're not playing Reaper. It's also a good time to remind you that, you know, when you're working through content, if you feel like you're able and when you're ready, it's really important to, you know, run these quests at base normal level for maximum Reaper XP. It's not hard once you make the adjustment, but if you're, you know, still running Reaper quests at elite streak level instead of base normal level, then you are nerfing your Reaper XP by 50%. So if you're just running R1s at elite streak level, you're getting very, very little Reaper XP in heroics, which really, I think, you know, creates this bias in the community that, you know, there's no Reaper XP in heroics, when actually there is a decent amount to be had. As I said before, I get right now about 160,000 Reaper XP just going 1 to 20. And, you know, that's an, you know, if I was doing R1s at elite streak level, I might walk out with, like, I don't know, 30 or 40,000 Reaper XP. And I'm not, you know, the amount of time I'm spending in these quests isn't unreasonable. And so, you know, I like to step it up where I can. As I said before, when Reaper mode first came out, knowing that running that base normal level would give us maximum Reaper XP, I made myself adjust to that right away because, you know, thinking this is going to be the new paradigm. If I want to maximize my Reaper XP, I got to start running these quests at base normal. And it was an adjustment at first. You know, I was getting my butt kicked. And like I said before, trying to work up to your first 15 or so Reaper points, you're going to take some hits. You know, it's a bumpy ride, and you're going to die a little bit more and stuff. But, you know, once you start that next life with about 15 Reaper points, it really starts to turn a corner and make a difference in terms of your survivability in Reaper mode. Okay. Spells. So I got level 5 spells, and I picked up Wall of Fire, which is just awesome. And just in case you don't know, Wall of Fire does extra damage versus undead. So you know, in those situations where you're fighting undead, that is a preferred AoE. And Ice Storm is also a wonderful AoE, but you can't have them both. You know, Ice Storm puts out Firewall. Now, I have an older video where I talk about the benefits of using Ice Storm versus Firewall, and, you know, situational benefits and how they stack up to each other. And it's definitely not an either or, at least not for the Druid. There are situations where, you know, I like to use one or the other, and where one or the other might be preferable. So if you are interested in that video, I'll put a link in the video description and talk about the considerations of when you would want to use those. And now we also have Death Ward, a very important buff. You want to have that on you at all times. That prevents you from getting neg leveled, from getting energy drained. Huge, huge, huge buff. And then, of course, I have the next Summon Nature's Ally, and I have a medium Earth Elemental loaded up for that when I want to pull out a summons. On the enhancements, let's see. What happened since last time? I think I just spent like a couple more points over here in Nature's Protector. Now I have 6 MRR out of there. And like I said before, when I get to level 10, you can see I'm already experience capped. You know, a lot of big XP quests at level 9, so I'm pegged as far as I can for XP until I take 10. But once I take 10, if I need a few more points, because at level 10 I want to make sure that I have tier 3 and 8, that's a total of 11 points spent to get that, and that grants heavy armor proficiency, and I will be using heavy armor starting next level. So if I have to, you know, dump a point or two from Season Herald or the Tiefling tree, then I will do that to make sure that I have heavy armor proficiency. On the quest side, So I did Sorrow Dusk. Those are shorties, and so just quick sources of a little bit of Reaper XP. You can do every part of Sorrow Dusk in 5 to 10 minutes, and you can easily walk out of there with 5, 6, 700 Reaper XP. You know, if you're stepping it up. They're older content, they're not difficult, and so I like to do it because they're quick. And like I said, just some quick hits of Reaper XP for the 5, 6, 700 Reaper XP might not be much in the big picture, but for the time spent in there. My goal in heroics, or my bar, is like if I'm getting 100 Reaper XP per minute in a quest, I think that's a pretty decent rate of Reaper XP for heroics. Also did Von 3 and 4. And then we did Shadow Crypt, that's another huge XP one. And we did the Library of Threnel. That's another shorty, real short. It's just Eastern Threnel Part 1. We don't do all of Threnel, but that very first part is just super short. And there's another one that you can just spend a few minutes in and walk out with, 500 Reaper XP, for example. And then not in the Adventure Compendium, there are 2 side quests in Threnel that are level 9. It's like the Giant Lieutenants and like the Giant Lair or something like that, and those are super short. And again, you can go in there and spend a few minutes each in those quests and walk out with 500, 600 Reaper XP. So just some real quick hits. So at this level range, it was all about either giant regular XP with like Von 3, 4, and Shadow Crypt, or quick hits of Reaper XP like with Sorrow Dusk and those 3 shorties that we did in Threnel. Okay, so that's all I'm going to say about that stuff, and we're going to get on to White Plume Mountain. Alright, here we go with R4 White Plume Mountain. This is a bit of an experience for me because I don't think I've ever tried to solo this on R4 before. So we'll see how it goes. Let's go ahead and drink some Yugo pots while we're at it, because we can. Con and wisdom. Hard time getting that GH scroll off. Let's see, what's your riddle? Let's see, double my number, I'm less than a score, half my number is less than 4. Add 1, it's 6. We're talking about a baker's dozen there, aren't we? Yes, we are. Ooh, I'm already taking some bigger hits than I would have wanted to just in this first group, but I'm not giving up yet. Souls, yoink. Ooh, that light bear probably hurt me more than anything. Alright. Clearly going to be a challenge. slow going on the heals. Trying to self-heal on an R4. Maybe I should try doing the heal scrolls. Oh, I got an 85% chance on them. Hell yeah, I need to be switching to that action. Didn't realize I was that high. And if I drink a charisma pot that I have left over, then that will give me an even better chance. And I'm not doing this on R4 because I'm recommending that you try to solo it on R4. I'm just doing it for the fun of the challenge is all. This build certainly isn't meant to solo, and especially not R4s, but I know that it does have the ability to solo. It just does so at a modest pace. So here, just in case you didn't know, if you ever fall off anywhere down there, you can always run back. You don't necessarily have to try to get the levers. You just run back and go up that ladder there. But let's see if we can make it across. I'm usually pretty good at this. And since I said that, that probably means I'm going to fall. I don't have Sunburst yet. I won't get that till level 12, but if I did, that would be a great way to one-shot those shadows. Alright. We made it! And we got some invisible jerk trying to ruin our day. Give him the old call lightning action. So I drank a Charisma Yugo pot. And now I'm up to 90% heal scroll. I'm feeling pretty good about that. And it's going to be higher. Should be 100% next level than I would think with my better gear. Alright. Giant crayfish. Demon soul. Guess what? I can charm these. I might be biting off more than I can chew. I can't charm a soul of cruelty. But I can charm all these other clowns. They're actually not clowns, they're crayfish. But you know what I meant. Stop acting like you didn't. Of course, if you have a trapper, this part's way easier, right? Oh, he hurts. Here it's bad. We have to give him the petrifying runestone action. Guess what? We can charm scorpions too, and it's practically no fail too, because scorpions and spiders have like no saves whatsoever. I don't know about crayfish, but they seem to charm pretty easily. The exception of that one, he had like mind block or something. So, all those guys didn't even follow me. What the hell? They burrow underneath? It's weird. Sea lions or animals can also be charmed. Yes, that's helpful in Lost at Sea. He's charmed. He's charmed. Let's just go ahead and jump down. Give these guys the ice storm, sleet storm, throw some weeds down, and hopefully these manticores won't be that big of a deal. Now I'm going to have to Illyria up before I pull that lever. Okay, Illyri. Do me, baby. I'll go ahead and hit some other clickies too while she's doing that. The old Archivist necklace. And we'll hit the Ring of Spell Storing. Because we can. Because we are going to need it. Okay, let's have Illyri go ahead and throw me a couple heals here, right? Since we got her out. Why not? Thank you. Best girlfriend I ever had. Those crayfish seem like they're charming really easily. I'm guessing it's the same as spiders and scorpions, where it's just like they just have no saves. Unfortunately, I cannot release Charm Animal. That's one of the crappy things about it, is like normal charms you can just click Dismiss Charm, but it doesn't work for Charm Animal. It's just coded differently, I guess. But we're open. I'm going to see if I can stick to the SLAs. Maybe... Oh, you know what? I shouldn't have thrown the Firewall, because he's throwing Gust of Wind. He's going to blow it right out. Yep. Hold up the examination window to see if that Creeping Cold had expired. Let's get out of his Ice Storm. Because you don't want to cast it again before it expires, because you overwrite your own Creeping Colds. You're overwriting the largest damage of it, because it is a backloaded spell, which means that its biggest damage comes at the end of its time. So, you know, those last couple ticks are the biggest damage, and if you overwrite it before it finishes, well, you just overwrote your biggest damage. So that it's not like, you know, other dots, you know, like Divine Punishment, or, you know, Arcane Pulse, or Nyax Biting Cold. Like, those you do want to keep stacking up, right? But Creeping Cold doesn't work that way. And you can throw both Creeping Cold and Greater Creeping Cold on a mob, but you cannot throw multiple Creeping Colds or multiple Greater Creeping Colds, at least not your own. They did change it in Update 37 so that multiple Druids could each put their own, like, Greater Creeping Cold on a mob, which was great. I mean, that was really crappy. You know, it was a disincentive to have multiple Druid casters in a party at that point. But, you know, who wants to play Druid casters anyways? There's so few of us. Well, I'm going to hit my Suicide Necklace there to get a little bit more mana. So I am super out of mana. Stay out of his Ice Storms. Okay, we're going to get this done here, at least this part, but obviously it's tight. Tight on the mana. I'm sure it would have been much more reasonable to do that on R3, but, you know, Uncle Voodoo wanted a challenge, and this is what he got. So, Getting a lot of arcane spell failure, a lot of, well, I don't even have 100% on the UMD on my GH, but, you know, it's such a great buff that it's worth throwing a few if that's what it takes to get a successful attempt. These kelpies are dangerous. I kind of don't want to get anywhere near them. I just don't trust them. Well, apparently they're a lot scarier on Legendary than they are in Heroic. Weeds, Ice Storm, Sleet Storm, we got freedom of movement, but they can slip around. Let's take out the Shaman first, right? So he's not healing everybody else like a jerk. Alright, they're blinded from the Sleet Storm. They're slowed from the Sleet Storm and the Ice Storm and the weeds. I don't even know what time it is. They have no idea that it's 2:09 a.m. Eastern Time right now. Got some undead. We're going to use Firewall there because we know that undead take extra damage from Firewall, and these champions are kicking my butt. And I just threw my heal scroll on them instead of me. I hate when I do that. Okay, we got rid of one champion, but we're getting worried because they hurt. Whew. You know what time it is? That's right. It's Illyri time. Every 5 minutes. So this is, you know, doing it on R4 is more a drain on resources, but it's showing you the value of Illyri. If you've never used her before, like I can bring her out every 5 minutes. And there she's got about 200 mana for me waiting with her Divine Vitalities. And that's the symbol, that's Divine Vitality right there. I just have it hotkeyed. Hotkeyed because I use it so often. So nice. Never really cared before Reaper mode, but with the increased demands of Reaper mode, yeah, I will take that extra mana. It's, for a spellcaster, it is a fantastic investment. Optional the other way, we're not going to be doing those. Now, you want to watch out for this guy because he's crabby. Maybe I should put on a blue fire shield because I think you take fire damage in here from the boiling water of his crab pot. Yeah, he's tough. Look at all those hit points he's got. we'll keep that displacement going, right? Let's get our Reaver power boost. Throw a heal scroll on ourselves. Refresh our Spring's Resurgence. Oops, I overwrote my own Creeping Cold. Shame on me. Let's get this out of the way here so it's not blocking our view. Isn't that stupid that the examination window just shows up right in the middle of everything? Like, yeah, that's where I wanted it, blocking my view. I told you he's crabby, look at him. What a jerk, right? Look, he's like, you can't see me. No, I was refreshing my displacement, and he knocked me down. What a jerk. So I'm going to come over here, refresh the displacement, and then get right back at him. Throw myself a heal scroll. Knocks me down again. Another Creeping Cold for him. And this should just about do it. Oh, it's gonna take another round. I got mana, let's throw a Ice Storm on him. Alright. Get rid of that examination window. Get our treasure. We got some dots on us, so on ourselves still. Let's use some of that mana to heal. So nothing quick about it, but now that I've gotten through 2 hallways, I'm emotionally committed to this R4 run. So you can get rid of this slime with like a fireball. I don't know if the scorch works. It doesn't look like it, so. I think we get rid of that with a disease. Yeah. Disease pot. Oh, Mark of Chouse. Yeah, I know it's pronounced chaos. Oh, and a demon soul. It's scary. It's very scary. It's very bad. Okay, demon soul's dead. The Mark of Chalice is about to die, but he's stubborn. He's finally dead. And Gingerspyce is almost dead. Yes, lost soul. Guess what time it is? Illyri. I might need her again before the end fight, so might as well use her now. Top off. Right. I can use my other clickies while she's doing that. I can heal myself. I can fail a heal scroll. I'm gonna drink another one of those pots. Another one of those pots. Another one of those pots, because I can. Because that's what they're for. They're not there to not use. Oh, so cruelty. Let's get him over here out of the water. See if he likes our personal hurricane action. He got knocked down from our little knockdown effect from... That's autumn winds. Actually, it could have been... Yeah, it would have been autumn winds, because I don't have the knockdown effect on the braces of wind yet. Later on, that gets like haste guard or something like that. That has its own knockdown effect now. Those could be picked. You know, you could use bellow opening if you want to, or if you had a, you know, trapper kind of tune. But I don't want to use bells on that, so I'm gonna have to go get the key from over here. We can use our weapon on puddings without worrying about being damaged, because remember, our spectral dagger is made of force. Not the force, but force. Okay, so gosh, I haven't been here in a long time. Hey, first try. Hell yeah. Got the keys. The key's in one of those random little hanging balls. And, you know, the ones that don't hold the key hold, you know, some nasty thing. Alright. We're going to get that fungus here. You want to pick the one that doesn't belong, which is the number 9. That is the only one, only number here, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13. 9 is the only one that's not prime. That's why that one doesn't belong. If you don't know what a prime number is, don't worry. It's always the number 9. But if you're like, man, I feel like I should know that. Prime number means that it's only divisible by 1 and itself. Rudy used to be an algebra tutor in college. Did you know that? But I guess you learn about prime numbers well before algebra, right? Yoink. Is Illyri ready? Because, oh, we got a minute. Maybe we'll hit her on the other side. No rare. Might as well grab these. Throw them in the guild chest, because, you know, guildies love potions of jumping plus 30. I got no use for them. Gonna be patient, let those mud jets go. We gotta get our collectible, because, you know, collectibles are like the most valuable thing in this game now. Firewall again, because undead take extra damage from it versus Ice Storm. That's why Firewall is better against undead, generally speaking. about this guy. Is Illyri ready? She is. I'm gonna go ahead and, just to be safe, I want to make sure I don't run out of mana. You know? Okay. Displacement, and let's go fight a vampire. And, you know, let's give him a firewall, because he's undead, and yeah. Hit the, Reaper spell power boost. Give him some flames to the eye. Stay out of his circle. So he's getting some hits. Jumping around trying to stay, you know, when you're moving, you're harder to hit, right? So a lot of times, like, I'll jump to throw a heal spell on my, or heal scroll on myself, right? Because I don't want it to get interrupted. So, jump around like a jackass, get the heal scroll off. Let's get another displacement scroll going, and we're back in the fight. Do another heal scroll because they're draining our strength. The shadows, very scary. Oh, my death ward wore off. That's not good. A lot of my buffs wore off. I should have recast them before I stepped in here. Whew. Took a chance there. I knew I was getting low, but I thought I could take him out before he took me out. Alright, we just gotta fight some Ifrits, right? Gotta get it done now. There's no going back. I hate when they put like a D-door or a portal right by the shrines, although a smart person would have waited to pop that D-door from grabbing that crest until after they shrine, so they don't accidentally click on the D-door, right? But, you know, that's not me. But, you know, to be careful, you know, the accidents really happen when you start clicking things, right, with your little pointer. If you make sure you target them manually with, like, you know, Q or backspace or whatever you use, and then manually click use, either with the gears and you click use, or, you know, whatever, E, or, you know, I use enter, that can avoid mistakes too, instead of just trying to click on it. And so that's another thing, like, if you ever been in that position where you're like, there's an emergency D-door up and you need to get out, there's a bunch of mobs around, you know, if you ever just found yourself, you're swinging at the D-door when you're trying to click on it, you know, but you're swinging your weapon at it, it's because, you know, there are mobs around. So that's a situation where, like, you know, you want to use Q and E or whatever you use to target, to select non-combat targetables, and then to use them manually. So we're going to put the fire shield on, the cold version, and it's really just creeping cold and call lightning, right? I guess I can throw ice storms, but I don't want to extend my mana pool too early and find myself running out. But ice storm will extinguish their firewall, so we can even throw a sleet storm up too, because sleet storm also extinguishes firewalls and has a much longer duration. So I still have the unmeted regular creeping cold loaded up. for situations like this when I don't want to wait for the Creeping Cold SLA to come off cooldown. And you can fight these guys a little bit further back here so that when one goes down, the next one starts spawning. There's two more. But if you're down here a ways, you won't aggro them right away. And that way you can focus on this one guy instead of worrying about, you know, 3 at once. Fire shield's about to wear out, so we'll throw another one. You know, it's starting to look like we might get a completion here, which is pretty cool. Just overwrote my own Creeping Cold by accident because Voodoo's not paying attention the way he should be. He's healing through it, but it's not enough. Heal ourselves up, and we're gonna go for Cox and Box now. Yeah, that's what they're named. They are throwing lightning bolts. Remember, we do have some lightning damage absorption on our armor. Okay, now it's down to me and Box. We're gonna give him an ice storm. Not a nice storm, but an ice storm. Creeping Cold. Call lightning. Yeah, it's pretty much over. I'm not even worried about my health at this point. We can even use some of our regular mana because there's nothing after this. Throw like the regular call lightning. Right? Because this baby is put to bed. Hell yeah, so a little slow going. Like I said, I'm not trying to say, oh, you know, I recommend you soloing R4 with this build, but just, you know, it was fun to see if I could do it. And like certainly a lower skull would be a lot more reasonable to do if you were a soloer. But it's fun to see if I could do it. Thanks for watching. As always, if you have any questions about my build, you can respond to my build post in the Druid forum. And if you have any questions about my videos, you can respond on YouTube.